Welcome to MAP, the bi-weekly market access podcast hosted by me, Dr. Stefan Walzer. I am the innovator of Market Access 4.0 and a health economist by training and working in the fields of market access, reimbursement, pricing, and health economics since 2004. Discover Market Access 4.0 and unveil the future with our innovative solutions. Max Insights, our fast and easy AI-based reimbursement planning platform. Dobo, our new revolutionizing way of creating reimbursement dossiers across the globe with the first and only dossier writing AI bot. Cubo, our new AI-based objection handling platform. And Waffle, train with Waffle's virtual reality genius in an immersive environment and with an AI-based counterpart. We are Market Access 4.0. So check out our website, marketaccess4-0.com. And now let's dive into the current discussions, processes, and trends in market access across the globe. So welcome to another podcast episode of our Market Access podcast series. Today I have two guests directly live from the US. I think one is Kallmes and one is Jeff Johnson. But just in case people might not know you by names, I'm sure people will know and recognize your company. Maybe just introduce yourself very briefly before we can really dig into a very specific topic within market access, but even broader, which is artificial intelligence being used and utilized, applied in literature searches.
Absolutely. I am Kevin Kallmes. As you noted, I'm CEO and founder of Nested Knowledge. My background before that, I'm a serial entrepreneur in the medical space. So I've helped with both medical research and writing, and then also actually designed and developed some medical devices. And now, of course, noting the problems in both the research side in work-intensive data collection, and then also in the consumption side. So how can I, as someone who creates and markets a therapy, how can I prove that it is efficacious and safe and cost effective? Noticing both those problems, we founded Nested Knowledge. And I'll throw it to Jeff.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Jeff Johnson. I'm the Chief Design Officer here at Nested Knowledge, which means I'm focused on the user experience, the UI, the UX of systematic literature reviews. And now with the advent of large language models, AI in systematic literature reviews. So thanks for having us on your podcast, Stefan.
Yeah, perfect. So thanks a lot for your introduction. I think one key question, Jeff, you said already, LLMs, large language models. And most people might know those, let's say, models maybe from ChatGPT and Gemini or whatever. But I think one of the key questions I always hear back, can LLMs really, for example, understand tables? And I think when we're coming back, and maybe we start first with that, so we can park that question just very briefly, maybe you can first start with your, let's say, maybe it's a platform, I would rather say, right, for a systematic literature search. So what is it? What could people really think about it? Is it just entering a buzzword and then suddenly the magic shows everything? How would you explain that?
The way to think about our software, and really the way we've thought about our software, is actually that it's really a workflow platform first. Because systematic literature reviews, the way that they've been done in the past is often a very manual task. It's something that, maybe if you're using a computer, even in the modern era, it would be something you're doing with Excel, right? Or with a conglomeration of tools. And Nested Knowledge kind of combines all of those best practices into one platform and allows users to work as efficiently as possible in collaboration with one another, really. So we cover everything from search, screening, data extraction, both qualitative and quantitative data extraction, and all the way through to critical appraisal. And then by sheer virtue of working within our platform as a team of researchers, all of that work is going to be automatically visualized. And that was a hallmark of the product from the very beginning. It doesn't really actually require AI. It's really just traditional computer science methods. You can just make sure that you're gathering all of these data elements correctly, and then we're going to be able to do some statistics on top to do things like a meta-analysis, for example, and kind of show you some basic statistics. Yeah, and then over the course of time, as we built this company, and developed our product further, we've layered in not just LLMs, I should say. It's a whole variety of different artificial intelligence things that have been pulled under that umbrella, right? So we're talking about machine learning, natural language processing, and then now large language models in 2024, right? To aid the user and really augment that process where we see the greatest efficiencies, right? Always with a couple things in mind. I think Kevin can probably talk a little bit more about this, but we're always trying to make sure that we are helping the user and that the user is always in the driver's seat, so to speak, right? That's I think one of the most important things about working with large language models in particular, because they're so non-deterministic. You need to be the one calling the shots and saying, hey, is this accurate or not? I mean, especially if we're going to call something truly systematic, if we're going to call it a systematic review, then it needs to be human-led, right? And I think I see a lot of other AI solutions out there where they're just sort of throwing all the evidence at the tool and seeing what sticks, and that's not 100% accurate, or maybe best practice, maybe not the right way to go about it. Though we do see sort of an emerging use case for AI reviews as a scoping exercise, as a way to kind of get a shape of the literature before you then would go out and actually develop that into a full-on systematic literature review and meta-analysis, that sort of thing. Kevin, anything you have to add?
I think you nailed it on the sort of workflow becoming AI assist. I will note that on the AI front, I love the framing of we're there to help the user. The thing that we think about there is, number one, we're saving you time, but you're getting the same task done. But the other one is, as Jeff said, we do have, I would say that we're on the conservative end of AI users and AI developers, where we want everything that the AI recommends in a given review to be curated by you. So we call that oversight as sort of our first main principle. Our second main principle is provenance, meaning we always want AI to give you not only an answer, but the source that it took that answer from. And our last one is transparency. And that's both methodological transparency on our part, so telling you exactly how we are using AI, but also transparency on the part of the model. So that includes citation back, of course, but I think it also includes pretty much everything to do with how do these models actually integrate into the software and how do they work.
Yeah, perfect. I think you have probably shown, I think, both already a big kind of picture how probably the kind of product looks like. Maybe, Kevin, just maybe a step even further back before maybe we're coming back again to the kind of table question, right? I mean, you said you were, or you are, one of the founders of the kind of product. So I presume you have also done literature searches in the past, right? I mean, you have felt the hassle, the bothersome kind of activity. I mean, I can still remember my first SLR. Yes. I mean, it was just, yeah, let's call it time consuming. It was not a lot of fun, right? But I mean, if I combine that, I think what you both said, like, I mean, the user should be in the driver's seat. I mean, I've been also in the driver's seat there, right? But I didn't enjoy it. So what is the key difference now, right? I presume it's more enjoyable because you can see faster the results and play around with it. I mean, what is it where, let's say, users, when they would think about the SLRs, would really think about, oh, wow, yes, with Nested, I just simply do it, right?
So you're spot on. I did probably in the range of 20 systematic reviews per year before I found Nested Knowledge. And one of them really stood out to me. And this is an anecdote from effectively right before we founded Nested Knowledge. I was an intern at the National Institutes of Health, and they asked me to do a systematic review on brain-computer interfaces. Basically, we wanted to understand the risks to patients and the capabilities and benefits. And they were, of course, the goal here was to try to assess what might be grantable. And this is the top researchers in the world, so I say, okay, you must have better methods than I do, right? I have an Excel sheet. What would you like me to do? And they said, build that Excel sheet. And so I got creative with it, which was a little fun, but of course, anytime you're filling an Excel sheet with, just like row after row of data, it is just work intensive and just nearly blinding with effort. I made hyperlinked spreadsheets where every single cell in one spreadsheet would link to another that would contain data. And I just thought that was a really cool way to present it to the NIH, and they really liked the output. So it was effectively nested spreadsheets as a systematic review output. However, it was a several month long, just intense project for myself. And so when I showed that to our co-founder, Carl Hollub, who's chief technology officer, he basically waved me off and he said, Kevin, this is not the way to gather or present data. And so even before AI came into the picture, we focused on really two aspects of the systematic review process. Number one, trying to reduce the burden. So in screening, being able to screen in one click, being able to pull in templates very easily so that you're able to just jump in and examine the actual subject matter. In fact, from the beginning, we said experts should do expert level work. That was sort of our mission in this. So we tried to make it interesting. And then we even got feedback from some of our early users that tagging, which is, I think, our key and unique feature for extracting data, that tagging itself, even without the AI, was a fun activity compared to pulling into an Excel sheet. And then the second piece was improved outputs. And I think that does contribute a lot to again, making it interesting and fun, because as soon as you jump in, you run your search, you get some AI results that tell you, hey, here's a breakdown of all of the population interventions and outcomes. That can get you a lot more into the details. You can start learning a lot faster. And then as soon as you tag something, we give you your qualitative synthesis outputs. So you're getting a concrete deliverable, something that you can examine and interact with and drill down on the data yourself, as opposed to basically filling an Excel sheet and then reading that same Excel sheet. So both, we thought about methods being more interesting and engaging, and then we thought about the outputs being automatically created on one hand and more interactive and interesting to actually learn from than again your classic Excel sheet.
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. I think also the kind of way, let's say the basis where let's say the whole kind of product was then created off. So maybe still coming back to the kind of question I had initially when Jeff, you made your introduction. I mean, one of the key questions, again, what I hear a lot back when we also speak about some of our AIs, I mean, can your model, whatever the model is, really understand and then extract the tables, in your case, from the publication into the kind of product you have, right? Is that really an LLM? Or I think you said as well, you're using a lot of different kind of methods. Hence, tables could probably be easily be readable.
So actually, no, it's actually a really hard problem. Tables and just in general, PDF format is what I would say is kind of a pain. And that is the format of literature today. You know, when it's published, typically people are working with these really large full text PDFs, which, you know, there's actually really no standard, you know, format, or it's not that standard. It's very flexible. You can pretty much put whatever you want into a PDF and call it a day as a. So that's tough. I think the bigger problem with that though is even though once you get the PDF into your software and then you parse that PDF for text and for images, getting a large language model or even these multimodal models that are emerging now, like GPT-4o, to fully comprehend and understand the like two-dimensional format of a table is actually really challenging, because they don't want to see that data comprehensively. Finding the needle in the haystack, that's easier, right? So you can go in and you can throw an image at GPT-4o and it will pull out data from that image. In other words, it will look at that image, it will recognize those characters, and it's going to, find you that little bit of data that you want. But yeah, one of the problems that we're working on right now in terms of development is making sure that we are comprehensively understanding those images and trying to figure out how we can get these off the shelf LLMs, as well as, anything else we can come up with internally, our own models, seeing if there's a way that we can extract that data in that tables, because that will lend itself really well to our quantitative extraction. So right now we have really good qualitative extraction, right? So if you throw a bunch of PDFs into our system and you create what we call a tagging hierarchy, a hierarchy of concepts and their relationships, the large language model does understand those concepts really well and is able to extract that data fairly reliably. And of course, because it's nested knowledge, we're going to recommend those. We're going to show those, surface those insights as recommendations, and then you can, as the user, accept them or deny them, either one by one or in bulk. And then that's going to save you a ton of work. And that's really where we're focusing right now, because even that, you're not going to get 100% it's called recall with what a human researcher would do, right? So that's that in a systematic review, that's paramount. That's really, really important that we get that accuracy right. So we're focusing on saving researchers time, and as it gets better and better, as these models get better and better, we stand ready to just implement them and bring them into the workflow to help the user. So you can come in, you can adopt today. Plenty of great HEOR teams have already adopted, and some market access teams have adopted. And as well as some other kind of functions within both CROs and large pharma organizations find use in our tool to save time, right? To save time in this very, very complex process that just is going to otherwise be very complicated and not fun, right? So if we can make it a little bit more fun, and if we can save you time and allow you to kind of focus on those high level tasks, the study design tasks, as opposed to having to do so much manual data extraction, so much manual screening, then that's worth it, right? That's worth our development time and your time using our product, hopefully. So, yeah, that's I think the best way to answer your question right now. As the models get better, we stand ready to include them, but we won't include them until they're actually worth it, and we're continuously experimenting on our end to see how we can do that and make sure that we're ready for whatever comes next, because it is a rapidly evolving space, and I get really excited as a new model comes out because I want to immediately test it and see where we're at with it. We've done a bunch of internal experiments, and we don't ship all of the failed experiments, right? So we internally have developed various features for our product using AI, and they just didn't work, and so we just didn't surface them to the world, and we're only showing you what's working and what's actually useful to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Maybe moving a bit towards, let's say, applying something like Nested and let's see the kind of platform you are, let's say, offering. I mean, obviously there are a lot of different ways how and where literature searches are being based on. I think you mentioned as well a couple of those, like I think kind of for scoping exercises and whatever. But I think one of the key questions I have as well is, for example, in medical research, you might as well need systematic literature searches, maybe more on a, I don't want to say live basis, but on a quite updated basis, on a regularly updated basis. I think I could imagine that, especially for such an area, this could be perfect to be used, right? Before maybe moving even into areas, I think, Jeff, you mentioned already, like market access or health economics. I think when you just need to submit, and the SLR needs to be up to date until a given kind of timeline, and then you would need to maybe submit it. But even there are other requirements in some, let's say, jurisdictions around market access where maybe there needs to be an update already done shortly before the submission, like, for example, in Germany. I think that can all be done in a way, right? Because you can prepare it. Is it just pressing a button and then get the update and further interpret it? Or how could I think about that?
Not quite press button, get review. We always want to make sure we're not overpromising on, you don't just jump in and say, okay, AI, update my review. But it is actually just a setting in your search. You can set a repeat cycle so that your search is updated daily. You can even tell it to ping you every time a new record comes in. And then all you need to do is on each incremental record. So let's say you already have a review and it has hundreds of records screened and dozens included. If 5 new records come in, you just need to screen them quickly. You check the AI recommended tags, and then you can add them or you can override them, and then you're done with that piece, and all of your outputs are updated automatically. So it's not push button, get review, but instead of the Excel sheet method where you try to find the Excel sheet wherever you lost it, you have to fill in everything that you would have done on the earlier review, and then you have to update any of your outputs yourself. You come in, you see the new records, you identify which ones are in, which data to extract, and then you're done. And that is the entire update cycle. And that's why we consider Nested Knowledge. It's basically by nature a living review platform.
Which makes a lot of sense. I think that was one of the key issues, right? I mean, as you said, you start with a review, then you do the whole kind of research, extraction, whatever. I mean, months of time have already been gone. Then you see the results based on literature probably already 6 months old. And then you recognize that something important might be missing, right? So that is as well one of the key hurdles you might as well be able to overcome, I think, with your basis, right?
We already see it, and obviously there are some new regulations coming through in Europe around updatable clinical reviews that I think this is going to be extremely important for. I think there are other sort of let's say this isn't living as in just updatable, but there are pieces of like a platform or traits of a platform for systematic review that make it a lot easier to do things like answer a related question, right? Let's say that I have my PICOS, I've done a review on non-small cell lung cancer, and it's on all drugs, but now I need to drill down on just TKIs. I can do that review. Or I want to say, I want to do only patients that are EGFR positive.
Yeah.
In the platform, you can already just drill down on that. You can see the answers to those questions that are scoped to a new set of PICOS. And then, of course, you can create and see new outputs as well. So it's not only living review as in updatable, it's also more rapidly changeable to answer a new question, because it's not just that there's new emerging evidence, there's probably emerging questions.
Yeah, very good point. Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's perfect. Yeah. So I think obviously we can as well now communicate that. I think, right. I mean, we have as well found a kind of agreement that we can, let's say, work as well together more closely.
Yes.
I think we have. I mean, we at Mars we have as well one of the let's say probably the first dossier AI to create reimbursement dossiers. I mean, for Germany, for global value dossier, for the US. We're currently working as well for the European JCA and a lot of other kind of, let's say, countries. And obviously, the key, as with human writing, is always literature, right? I mean,
right.
If you say it maybe in a more negative tone, it's a rather garbage in, garbage out, right? But we don't want to have the garbage in. So if you have a proper and a high quality literature set ready before, and maybe even in the way, as Kevin, you have as well just said, in an updated fashion, because obviously we as well know market access submission might be, let's say, coming over time, right? Maybe first one country or maybe even a continent, right? And then moving from one country to the other, meaning the literature is even getting older. So I think that's also an important consideration, probably having that in mind. And you mentioned as well a very important point, which is the PICO, which will be important for the European JCA, but it's also generally important. I mean, if we run a reimbursement dossier in France or write a reimbursement dossier in France, there might be a different PICO than in Italy, than in Germany, than in, I don't know, in Poland. I think that's also something where I think we all can probably be very flexible now in the future for, let's say, our joint kind of clients, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So what I would say about that is that, one of the things that makes me so excited to get up every day and work on the nested knowledge software solution is just the flexibility of it. And that is achieved by a couple of different things. So first of all, the fact that we're a workflow first, that you're able to come in here and create a literature review or a meta-analysis or really just an evidence synthesis project. I mean, I think that's the broadest terms I can speak of it in. Anytime you need evidence, and let's be clear, basically everybody needs evidence, right? With across the entire product lifecycle. You need evidence. So our early adopters in many ways, like the people who do a lot of systematic literature reviews, has been health economists, right? It's outcomes researchers. That's kind of our those are the people who use it the most. But we've started to see people come in and successfully use our product in very interesting and different ways to get the outputs that they need. So as you were saying, with PICO as an important aspect of the JCA regulation that's coming through Europe, we have had for a really long time, even this is not even a large language model. This is just something we developed in-house. We have a machine learning algorithm to extract PICO from abstracts and full text. And so you can, it's available at two stages, essentially. So when you are in our platform and you're just doing a search, we have a feature called search exploration, where you can put together some terms in a drag and drop interface, and you can kind of start to craft a search, and you'll see the Boolean logic being formed on the right-hand side. You can explore just the first few records within that search, those abstracts, and our model is going to run in the background on those abstracts and extract and suggest the most frequent and the most commonly occurring PICO within that literature. And it allows you to rapidly iterate towards a good search strategy. So it's a useful search tool. You can also use RoboPICO later on, once you have records into your nest, as we call it, but your project. You can then run it on a subset of those records to extract PICO as well, and rapidly see, hey, what's in this literature And then you can of course transform those into tags and extract them from the underlying literature and get a full review out of it. But yeah, tools like that I think would then lend themselves really well to the market access process when you're thinking about the JCA and developing dossiers for specific geographies and then globally as well, right? You're going to want to get your hands on that literature as quickly as possible and synthesize that literature, and then be able to export it in a way that then Dobo can come in and make use of it. And so that's where I see some efficiencies happening for your audience in particular. So if you're a Dobo user out there right now and you're like, I love Dobo, but I'm really struggling with the literature, the evidence synthesis portion of that process, talk to Dr. Walzer, right? Like let's have that conversation and figure out how we can get you access to both tools simultaneously. And so you can really get the benefits of both platforms simultaneously. I think that would be, ideal. Kevin, anything to add to that?
Mostly just on the Pico front, I always hate, again, to overpromise, but we've been thinking a lot about this issue. And I think that this is one where large language models may be able to help a bit more than our current system. So we are taking a deep dive right now into how can we have a large language model not only find Picos that you specify, but also help you actually map out what your Picos might look like. So stay tuned for upcoming developments on that front.
Absolutely. And I think that's very, very important as well when we again think about the European JCA, right? With all of the expectedly different kind of Picos. We are already, let's say, moving a bit towards the end of that episode, I think, which was really big fun. I mean, I could not have thought about to have a good, great, fun discussion about SLRs when I started working in that area 20 plus years ago, right? But it was already...
Yeah.
But maybe just very briefly, and I would love to have both of your opinions on that. AI in general, right, with all the kind of systems and methods and whatever, is moving really rapidly. I mean, where and how do you see the platform, your platform, or generally maybe SLRs in maybe 5 to 7 years? Everything automated, and we don't need a user anymore, just pressing a button? Or is it still not the way to go? What is your vision on that?
So in short, I'd ask, like, and this isn't even a rhetorical question, it's what information do you need to even bring into a review to make it into a review? So if I come in and I say, write me a review about, again, let's use my past example, write me a review about non-small cell lung cancer. How is any system, no matter how good, supposed to read your mind about what is important within that to you? So I can't see a future where you can completely remove the user from the interaction, at the very least, to specify every single key element that would need to go into the review. I do think we're going to go from sort of, and I think that Nested Knowledge is pushing the forefront of incrementally automating steps within a review. So search, we give you search criteria, we give you recommended search criteria screening, we help you with your decisions. I think that we're going to move more and more toward user just gives inputs on what they're looking for. And as much of the actual finding is automated as possible. But I really want to, AI is not magic, and AI is not mind reading, and it is not its own medical researcher. I think that defining what is crucial, defining what is important, that's never going to disappear. And I think that's actually the most important activity in a review. So even as we look at sort of our next automations, or even what will systematic review look like in the far future, I think that is going to be absolutely necessary. There's one other point here that I really hope for, and this is more of a data side initiative. I really hope that in the future that the actual underlying data sets from primary publications are more available. We've definitely, I'm sure you've encountered this problem, and everyone who's done a systematic review has encountered the problem that primary publishers don't always make the same data elements available. They don't always make the same comparisons available, and therefore you're limited in what you can do. So my hope is that there's more openness and transparency in primary journal publication that will make it so systematic reviews are not just done more efficiently, but they're done on richer data.
Yeah, I think my answer to this question is just short term. I can tell you what we're working on internally. We're working on a lot of smaller in-house models, things that do very specific things, or models that do very specific tasks, is what I should say, like study design. It's something that's really kind of tough to extract from literature right now. It's actually not super well reported always in databases, for example. So we're developing an in-house model to do just that, and it's going to be fairly accurate. There's a couple other ones. We're going to adapt Pico as RoboPico is what we call it to our tagging hierarchy, so you can offer that as a recommendation to your reviewers as they are screening and tagging literature. Yeah, and so we're going to be working on a series of smaller models that are better at doing certain things within the software, common tasks, common extraction tasks within our software. And we will continue to watch the progress of large language models to see where they can fit in. I mean, I think it just conceptually for me, I think the easiest way to think about this is that we have some smaller models that are going to be more accurate. They're going to be trained for the use case that our users have, and those are going to be great. But we're also going to continue to need, flexibility with these, really rather smart but not perfect large language models. They're kind of unpredictable and are kind of non-deterministic and just kind of are useful but not 100% accurate at the time-saving measure, so that you can create you have a flexible solution, is what I should say. So you've got these hard and fast machine learning models that just run in the background all the time and are just ready to go whenever you need them. And then when it comes to time to design a more custom extraction event, then you can use the large language models to kind of fill in those gaps. And again, it's really about driving those efficiencies and bringing the user that time savings, so that you can sit back and really focus on what matters to you, the fun part, right? The part that says, hey, yeah, I'm gonna do some study design today, and I'm gonna create a review in a very short amount of time. It's not going to be 6 months. It's going to be a couple of days, and I'm going to have to do a lot of adjudication here. But that's kind of where I see the future going, right? It's not necessarily about automating the entire process in this case, because there's actually a lot of human input. We just want to make the best possible systematic literature review and evidence synthesis tool on the market. And if we can do that, if we can get you closer to that quicker iteration process, then I think that's a win. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, thanks a lot for your insights. That was really great. Looking also forward to the future. I mean, future of AI, future of our joint collaboration. Absolutely. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Kevin. Talk to you soon.
Thank you as well.
Likewise. Thank you.
Another great episode, this time on systematic literature searches utilizing artificial intelligence. I think, as you have heard, also those kind of models are not yet perfect, but they are already saving tons of minutes and hours, meaning saving time, which also means that the users, the market access managers, the health economic managers, or any kind of other responsible persons just have simply more time as well for the strategic bit. Also very important, SLR, systematic literature searches, are the basis for a lot of different activities in the area of market access, whether it's dossiers, and we have as well just quickly spoken about the opportunity to use the results out of nested knowledge for our dossier AI, which is called Dobo, but it could also be used in other areas, either in the area of development, clinical trial development. We've spoken about the development of maybe clinical trial designs, but also, for example, when competition is suddenly publishing something new and you would need to train and simulate a conversation maybe with a key account or sales rep, or even with a payer, where one could also utilize, for example, our AI tools like Cubo and Waffle. Maybe just simply watch out, nested knowledge, and the cooperation with us, Market Access and Pricing Strategy, where we are just currently called as Market Access 4.0, and our platforms. That was an episode of MAP, the Market Access podcast provided by Mars Market Access and Pricing Strategy, which is your healthcare consultancy in the German-speaking markets. MAP is available every second week with a new episode, so watch out. And in case you might have questions, contact me directly and or visit our website on www.marketaccess-pricingstrategy.de.